Tage said he had told you guys if you needed him, he could have played in San Jose. You guys felt it would be better to give him one more game. Well, what went into the decision to let him go and maybe have him play tomorrow?
Well, I think the process of getting him to where we needed to get him, and in a back-to-back game and not practicing again before that, he even felt he needed a couple of really good practices, and you go into that last couple of games and you're not practicing as a team. You didn't practice in between. It was going to be hard to evaluate really where he was at. I know he said he felt better. He did say he would prefer to have a couple practices, and so I think part of that decision.
Yuri at center, just what gave you the confidence to make that move?
I think he's a natural centerman, so put him in there and see if, center sometimes gets to develop a little bit more speed coming out of the zone versus that guy that's playing wing and along the walls.
What's happening to him right now? We've seen steady growth. I mean, what's happened to him maybe in the last 6 weeks that's allowed him to find that next level, I guess?
Well, he had a good camp. Didn't seem real confident with the puck, at the end of camp and through the games. I think his confidence has grown. Like when you watch a couple of the breakouts, even a couple of breakouts in San Jose to kind of wheel his way through the defensive zone and handle those plays down low and hang on to the puck, shows me that he's gained a lot of confidence and understands where the next play is, and he's kind of taken advantage of that.
How much is that confidence manifested in the face-off circle, the way he's performed?
A lot. I think if he stepped in the face-off circle and wasn't having any success, you'd be looking at a guy that you'd probably want to put back to the wing. But he was a guy that was that good, and that he started cramping up in San Jose, and I couldn't play him for about 10 minutes. There was a point I said, "Is he ready to play yet?" Because I wanted him in the face-off dot.
How about with Yuri having a resource like Zucker right next to him on the same line? And I've noticed when they come off the ice, Jason always talks to him, good or bad or whatever they're talking about. What is it like for Yuri to have a resource like that right in the game, right after a shift?
Well, you can look to a guy that has a lot of experience and instantly knows the answer to probably the question he's asking, whether was it the right play, was the next pass I made, was that what you were expecting? I think the defending part, helping keep him calm. You got years of experience there with Zucks that I think can help any young guy out.
How has Krebs earned more of your trust, since camp started and really, asserted himself and earned more opportunities?
Really just by the way he's played, how hard he's played, the determination he's played with. We've talked about, leaving it all out there on shift to shift, and I think he's been really the example of going end to end and playing as hard as he possibly can, shift in, shift out. And it doesn't matter whether it's a 9-minute night or a 14-minute night. He takes every shift as an opportunity to make a difference. And you've seen him some nights where he'll move up in the lineup, some nights where I've really liked that line, the Melanstein and whether Lafferty or Cabell have been a line that have been able to control play in the other end. But he's put together a really good start to the season.
What have you liked about him with Dylan on the same line, just in the limited, opportunities they've had together?
Just I think the intensity that those guys brought together. We kind of went down to 3 lines there for a while and moved them up, and I think just the work ethic and the intensity that those 3 guys had together started to make a difference inside the game for us. I think strength-wise, he's strong on the puck. He's hard to knock off. So when you look at a Cousin who's heavy on the puck, and then you got Benson on the other side that, he's like a dog on a bone too. It was probably 3 shifts in a row. They kind of changed the course of the game for us, I thought.
What are you hoping to see the team take away from that road trip and carry over into this week?
We found ways to win. I think there was a lot of good in those 3 games, but there's a lot of opportunity to improve. We've got to generate more opportunities. I think our intensity and the dirty goal stuff is kind of dried up. We got to get back to getting inside and getting more people like the Cousin goal with Benson, right around net front. And probably the last thing is that, making that next play. When that next play is there, our execution part, I thought, lacked a little bit. So today's practice was, a lot of it was getting pucks up ice and making the right play and getting people open and trying to ramp up, the opportunities to score inside of a game.
How was Greenway progressing?
He had, I guess, it's just some type of procedure, not operation type, but a procedure that could possibly help him, that we'll know within the next couple days. And then we'll see where he's at.
Back to Yuri, Friday was like truly a life highlight for him. Just what kind of moment like that do for him? Boost his career? What's it like for a young player to do something like that?
I think that really that's the moments you live for as a young player. You get that opportunity. The fact that he'd gone pretty well and gave him the opportunity in overtime to score a big goal in that moment is something that should really boost your confidence.
What's your process as a coach to kind of keep a team grounded during a streak like this? You want them feeling confident, but you probably don't want them feeling too good with some of the areas you mentioned that they need to improve.
Well, yeah, again, I listed a couple. You're always looking to improve, and I thought even the way we started practice today, it wasn't like we were out to improve it. To me, I thought we had to start going harder. After a long plane ride and a day off, didn't like the way we started practice. We got an extremely tough schedule coming, and the teams that we're playing are, starting tomorrow, extremely tough teams to generate opportunities against. You go against a Minnesota who's really put together a nice year, and they're not giving up a lot. It's going to be a really tough game. You come in off a road trip, and you're hoping that the team can be ready to exceed the intensity that we were able to bring on the trip. It's the only way to get better.
Do you want to see Jack Quinn improve in his game?
I think if you looked at the production part, he's had an opportunity for production. The production hasn't been there. I did think the Anaheim game was probably one of his best games of the year. It is about making that next play or taking advantage of that play that has happened on the ice. I think he's been a little bit snake bit. You always look at the battles inside the game. Can they be better? But just take advantage of your opportunities. And I think in his category where he lies on our team, it's just production. You got to produce.
Do you feel in your experience that even when your team's winning or on a good streak, that sometimes you have to be even harder on them in that situation?
Well, when you break down a game, you know exactly what you did good and what you didn't do so well, and you just try to improve. The video meeting was about getting better in those areas I just talked about. It wasn't about the 1 or 2 goals we scored there a game, but I think there is opportunities in the season to win games different ways, and we found ways to win. We found a way to win a really tight game against LA where both teams were playing pretty solid defensively. Didn't like the start in the Anaheim game, but I definitely liked the way we finished the last bit of the second period. So, again, starting games, how we start games. How we start games is really important. We've got to get away from taking penalties. I think we took 13 and only had 6 or 7 power plays. That's a bad mix or a bad recipe for winning games.
And going back to soccer, what do you think has allowed him to kind of find effectiveness in the role
I think he's welcomed the opportunity, who he's played with and how he's being used. Net front guy in the power play who is really kind of taking that power play unit on by himself, and his role there around the net front, which allowed us, him to score the big goal in LA. If you looked at the Greenway McLeod Zucker line to start the year, it was a good line for us. It was producing, and so he's welcomed that opportunity. He liked the guys he was playing with, so he's taking advantage of that.